This evening, first, mining license pulled. More than 100 miners see their operations suspended as the GGMC moves swiftly against non-compliance, part of a wider government push to clean up Guyana's gold sector and enforce full declaration in 2026. Plus, an incident raising alarm. Police investigate an alleged attack on an international travel vlogger after video of the encounter circulates online, as authorities stress zero tolerance for violence and Guyana's reputation as a safe destination. Also, living standards in focus. The government highlights major gains in water access, electricity reliability, and transport links, saying infrastructure investments are reaching hundreds of families nationwide, including hinterland communities. Meanwhile, a long-awaited school opens. Bamia Primary School finally welcomes students, delivering a modern learning space after years of delay, and renewed hope for stronger educational outcomes in the region. And abroad, Venezuelans face deep uncertainty after a deadly U.S. military operation and the capture of President Nicolas Maduro as the country waits to see what comes next. Those stories and more coming up straight ahead. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 6, 2026. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, GGMC, has announced the immediate suspension of mining operations, permissions to operate, and related authorizations for 107 individuals who failed to comply with regulatory requirements. The decision follows a public notice issued on January 2, 2026, directing the affected persons to report to the GGMC. The suspensions take effect immediately and will remain in force until the individuals engage with the Commission and meet its compliance standards. The GGMC said further regulatory or enforcement action may also be pursued. The move comes amid a broader government crackdown on illegal and non-compliant mining activities ordered by President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan. On January 2nd, the President directed the immediate deregistration of all registered dredges that failed to declare gold production in 2025, effectively revoking their operating permits under the GGMC. The President also ordered that foreign miners operating illegally in Guyana be identified, prosecuted, and expelled. Particular attention has been placed on some Brazilian miners whose gold declarations were reportedly low or non-existent. These miners were given 24 hours to comply with local mining laws and declare their production to the Guyana Gold Board. Authorities also announced collaboration between the ministry and the Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association to ensure all miners are properly registered and operate local bank accounts. The government has since established a multi-agency task force to tighten oversight of the gold sector, close loopholes in the export system, and strengthen enforcement as it pushes for full compliance in 2026. In other news, the Guyana Police Force is investigating an incident that sparked public concern after video footage surfaced showing an alleged attack on an international visitor while in Guyana. The Guyana Police Force has launched an investigation into an alleged attack on international visitor Anthony D'Oliveira, host of the Jumps Travel documentary YouTube channel. The incident, captured on video and currently circulating online, is being taken seriously by investigators. Police have condemned all acts of violence, noting that such behavior is unacceptable and contrary to Guyana's laws and values of safety, hospitality, and respect. Authorities say they are actively reviewing the video footage, conducting inquiries, and following all available leads to identify and apprehend the suspect. The Guyana Police Force expressed concern for Mr. D'Oliveira and reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring Guyana remains a safe and welcoming destination for both visitors and residents. As investigations continue, police say every effort is being made to ensure those responsible are brought to justice. The Guyana Police Force has reiterated its zero tolerance on violence and its commitment to maintaining public safety while encouraging public cooperation as the probe moves forward. On a different note, 24-year-old Shania Benjamin, a clerk of Central Amelia's Ward Linden, has been charged with murder in connection with the fatal shooting of 27-year-old Omar Jones at Half Mile, Westmere Linden. Benjamin appeared via Zoom on Tuesday before Magistrate Rochelle Liverpool at the Linden Magistrates Court, where the charge of murder, contrary to common law, was read to her. She was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to prison until February 16, 2026. The charge stems from an incident on December 30, 2025, when Jones, a driver from 1 Mile Westmere, was shot while traveling in a motor canter along Half Mile Public Road. Police said preliminary investigations revealed that Jones was approached by a motor car from which an unidentified male exited and opened fire before fleeing the scene. Jones was found unresponsive in the vehicle and was rushed to the Linden Hospital complex, where he was pronounced dead. His body was later taken to GGMC Funeral Home for a post-mortem examination. Police confirmed that Benjamin was arrested during the investigation and that a motor vehicle was seized as part of ongoing inquiries. The tragic loss of Omar Jones has left his family and loved ones devastated. Relatives continue to grieve the senseless act of violence, expressing deep sorrow and calling for justice. The investigation into the fatal shooting remains active. Updates will be provided as the case progresses and further development arise. Stick around when we return. Bamia Primary School officially opened after delays, liability period ongoing, and expanded access to utilities and transport, improving lives across Guyana.
Chocolates, bounce into flavor. Bing bong, everybody wants some. Roasted peanuts is the true number one. Bing bong, you better get a handful. This chocolate is so incredible. What's the snack everybody craves for? Bing bong, bounce into flavor. Chocolate coated peanuts, delicious top class A plus. Bing bong, from chocolates, bounce into flavor.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors OLE if you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025 and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors PLE in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check if you are listed and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. If you have changed your address since you were registered, you need to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your new area of residence to apply for a transfer. Sunday, January 18, 2026 is the last day you can apply for a transfer during this exercise. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation Deodat Indar on Tuesday stated in a Facebook post that hundreds of Guyanese families are benefiting from significant investments in water, electricity, and transportation infrastructure as the government continues efforts to raise living standards and support national development. These amenities were widely regarded as essential in any developing nation. The Minister of Public Utilities said access to potable water has reached 98.3% nationwide, with hinterland coverage now at 91%. He emphasized that ensuring universal access to treated water remains a core government priority. Electricity reliability is also improving to meet growing demand from new housing schemes and expanding businesses. According to the minister, upgrades are strengthening the national grid, reducing outages and supporting longer operating hours of businesses. The planned gas energy project is expected to further lower electricity costs for households. Improvements in aviation and maritime services are enhancing connectivity, particularly for hinterland and riverine communities. Upgraded airstrips, expanded airport facilities, and reduced fuel costs are making travel more affordable for residents seeking healthcare, education, and market access, while also supporting tourism and trade. Officials say these developments reflect a push to provide modern, basic services expected in a developing country, while laying the foundation for sustained economic growth and improved quality of life. Moving on, Bamia Primary School was officially completed and opened on Monday, marking a delivery of a long-anticipated regional education project under the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. While the school is now operational, officials confirmed that the project remains within its liability period. The modern, purpose-built facility is designed to serve children from Bamia and surrounding communities in Linden, offering spacious classrooms, administrative offices, sanitary facilities, and supporting infrastructure to improve teaching and learning outcomes. Authorities say the school will provide a safer, more inclusive, and conducive learning environment closer to students' homes. Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Priya Manichan welcomed the opening, describing it as a significant achievement for pupils and teachers. She noted that sustained efforts was required to complete the project and stressed that delays in delivering educational infrastructure negatively impact students and educators. The project, which faced repeated delays and missed several completion deadlines, had previously come under public scrutiny. The minister had earlier underscored the urgency of completing the facility to ensure children could attend school without further disruption. The completion of Bamia Primary School aligns with the government's broader agenda to strengthen regional infrastructure and expand equitable access to quality education across Guyana. With the school now open and welcoming students, officials have expressed confidence that the facility will play a key role in improving educational outcomes in Bamia and surrounding communities in Linden. Don't go away after the break. Delcy Rodriguez is sworn in as Venezuela's president after Maduro's abduction, and the U.S. critics and allies condemn Maduro's abduction at UN Security Council.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Ping pong from chocolates, bounce into flavor. Ping pong, everybody wants some. Roasted peanuts is the true number one. Ping pong, you better get a handful. This chocolate is so incredible. What's the snack everybody craves for? Ping pong, bounce into flavor. Chocolate coated peanuts, delicious, top class, A plus. Ping pong from chocolates, bounce into flavor.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors (OLE). If you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025 and you are a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors (PLE) in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether the particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica agreed to accept selected refugees under new U.S. arrangements. Venezuela swears in a new leader after the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro. Uncertainty grows on the streets of Caracas. And the UN Security Council meets in emergency session. We begin in the Eastern Caribbean. Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica has signed a third country agreement with the United States to accept selected refugees with strict intelligence vetting. Prime Minister Gaston Brown and Roosevelt Skerrit say criminal refugees will be excluded, stressing cooperation without compromising national security amid new U.S. immigration restrictions. Delcy Rodriguez, formerly Venezuela's vice president, has been formally sworn in to lead the South American country following the abduction of Nicolas Maduro in a United States military operation. She has indicated she will cooperate with Washington, but described Maduro and his wife as hostages. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
Less than 72 hours after the capture of President Nicolás Maduro, Delcy Rodriguez was sworn in as Venezuela's interim president by her brother Jorge Rodriguez, the head of the government-controlled National Assembly, surrounded by senior figures of the Chavista leadership.
I come with sorrow for the kidnapping of two heroes who are being held hostage in the United States of America, President Nicolás Maduro and the First Lady of this country, Celia Flores. I come with sorrow, but I must say that I also come with honor to swear on behalf of all of Venezuela.
A 56-year-old daughter of a Marxist activist, Rodriguez has been a party loyalist since the early years of the Bolivarian Revolution. She is seen as a pragmatist with deep knowledge of the economy and Venezuela's oil sector. Just a day before her swearing in, Rodriguez struck a conciliatory tone, signaling openness to cooperate with the United States, a sharp contrast to the rhetoric heard inside the National Assembly on Monday. Lawmakers there condemned the U.S. action as a fascist act of Yankee imperialism, and Nicolás Maduro's son delivered an emotional show of loyalty.
They may have kidnapped Nicolas and Celia, but they did not kidnap the conscience of a people who have decided to be free. To you, Delcy, I offer my unconditional support in the difficult task that lies ahead. You can count on me. You can count on my family. You can count on our determination to take the right steps in facing this responsibility that now falls to you.
Outside the National Assembly, government supporters rallied for a second day, demanding Maduro's release. Elsewhere, Caracas remained largely quiet, with some shops cautiously opening. But concerns are growing over a potential crackdown. Venezuela's Journalists Union says at least 14 reporters were detained near the National Assembly, as authorities ordered police to pursue anyone accused of supporting what the government calls the U.S. armed attack. Delcy Rodriguez now faces a narrow path forward, reassuring a hardline base at home while trying to avoid steps that could provoke a harsher response from Washington. How she manages this balancing act might decide what comes next for Venezuela. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Cucuta.
Venezuelans are still trying to understand what comes next after the deadly U.S. military operation that ended with the capture of Maduro and his wife. At least 32 Cuban security personnel were killed, along with an unknown number of civilians. While the country remains calm for now, uncertainty is growing and life is far from normal. Al Jazeera's Lucia Newman reports.
Jonathan Mallorca reviews what's left of his children's home after the U.S. attack in Catia de Mar, in the coastal municipality of La Guaira. This three-story building is near Venezuela's international airport, a naval base, and, according to a Venezuelan source, close to one of President Nicolás Maduro's security bunkers.
It's a miracle that they didn't kill my children here. Upstairs, 2 elderly women died in the attack. We aren't to blame for the conflicts of the world.
In another apartment, bullet holes can be seen everywhere, suggesting U.S. forces on the ground may have encountered resistance here during Saturday night's attacks and subsequent extraction of Nicolás Maduro. Even Venezuela's national liberation hero, Simón Bolívar, was riddled with bullets.
We started evacuating, running everywhere, trying to get as far out of the area as we could. When we came back, we saw all the damage. It's a miracle that we're alive.
Many Venezuelans are also reeling from the extraordinary images of their president in shackles being taken at dawn to a courthouse in New York.
I don't support him, to be honest, but he's a human being.
Most businesses remain closed except for grocery shops and pharmacies. People are stocking up on food as a priority because they don't know what will happen next or who is really in charge. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado is ignoring Trump's statement that she doesn't have the support or respect of Venezuelans.
She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Instead, she's just thanked Trump for his resolve, saying Venezuela's transition is imminent. Opposition spokesman Alexander Maita, who's exiled in Chile, explains that it's too soon for Machado or anyone else to return home.
We are pushing so that there will be an orderly and peaceful transition. That is our motto, our goal. But we can't deny that Delcy Rodriguez, Padrino Lopez and Diosdado Cabello remain in power and continue being part of the problem.
He's referring to Maduro's power elite, including the army and intelligence services. They're still running the country, even as Trump insists that it's he who's really in charge. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Santiago.
The UN Security Council has held an emergency meeting to discuss the U.S. raid on Venezuela and Nicolás Maduro's capture. The American and Venezuelan ambassador traded barbs, while the Secretary General voiced concern about the country's immediate future. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Elizondo reports.
A full UN Security Council chamber underscored the urgency over what has unfolded in Venezuela. The United Nations top diplomat, Antonio Guterres, was in the process of rushing back to New York, so his remarks were delivered on his behalf.
I am deeply concerned about the possible intensification, the instability in the country, the potential impact on the region, and the precedent it may set for how relations between and among states are conducted.
Mike Waltz, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, called Maduro a fugitive of justice and said Venezuela's large oil reserves were part of the equation in Washington.
You cannot continue to have the largest energy reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, under the control of illegitimate leaders, and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs inside of Venezuela.
Venezuela's ambassador, Samuel Moncada, said the logic used by the U.S. could lead to instability.
When force is used to control resources, impose governments, or redesign states, we are faced with a logic that harks back to the worst practices of colonialism and neocolonialism. Accepting such a logic would mean to open the door to a deeply unstable world, in which countries with greater military capacities can decide by force the political and economic destinies of other states.
Russia and China, two of Maduro's most powerful allies, both condemned the U.S. actions and called for Maduro's immediate release. Critics say the U.S. actions were a clear violation of the UN Charter, but that didn't stop Washington from doing it anyway. Jeffrey Sachs, the world-renowned economist, warned that what transpired in Venezuela could have a far-reaching precedent, one that will determine whether the UN Charter remains a living document of international law or is allowed to wither into irrelevance. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera at the United Nations in New York.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's TV2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.